Legendary US reporter Carl Bernstein, who was famous for exposing the Watergate scandal, he has said that White House insiders have told him that Biden's debate debacle was not at all uncommon or unusual. In fact, people working with the US president are used to him having glitches. Have a listen to what he told CNN.
They are adamant that what we saw the other night, the Joe Biden we saw, is not a one-off, that there have been 15, 20 occasions in the last year and a half when the president has appeared somewhat as he did in that horror show that we witnessed. In the last 6 months particularly, there has been a marked incidence of cognitive decline and physical infirmity.
That's not really a surprise, is it? We kind of knew that, but now he's admitting that they've known that the whole time.
Sorry, did he just say 15 to 20 instances in the last year?
I mean, you know, that's not a bad hit
per week.
It's not a bad hit rate. But and this has been the funniest thing about all of it, is that we've known, and surely they have known for a very long time.
Well, he says now
but
they
it's
do,
been
yep.
covered up, right?
Correct.
And what you saw in the debate, and we've talked about whether or not this was, of course, a deliberate tactic, but what you saw in the debate, because Biden is so often hidden away from the cameras, he's done the fewest press conferences of pretty much any president ever. So he doesn't come out and talk to the press. He doesn't come out and talk to the public. He doesn't talk unless he's got a teleprompter in front of him. And even then he buggers it up, which we'll get to in a second. But what you saw last week was the first time in a long time where Biden had to be put in a situation where he had no notes, no teleprompter. It was him, a piece of paper, a pen, a glass of water, and Donald Trump. And he utterly failed. There's nowhere to hide anymore because it was just laid completely bare. Like, even if you had your CNN blinkers on for the last 4 years, you turned CNN on Thursday night and it was like horror movie right there on my TV. Like, there's no point of escape from it now. But we've seen all the excuses that Biden and his team have come up with over the last few days. We had the excuse from his team that the reason he looked so bad and sickly and whatever at the debate on Thursday night was because the CNN makeup artists had put too pale a powder on him, so it made it look like he was too sick. They also concurrently claimed that he had a cold, and that's why he sounded croaky, even though he came out the next day and looked fine and dandy and sounded fine and dandy. Well, Biden himself has now offered another explanation. I'm sort of wondering which one it really is, but he says, I decided to travel around the world a couple of times, around the world in 80 days or something. I don't know, he thinks he's in a movie. Shortly before the debate, he said at a campaign fundraiser in Virginia, I didn't listen to my staff, he said, and then I almost fell asleep on stage. It's not an excuse, but an explanation. You're the president. The president. And he nearly fell asleep on stage. Oh, look, I just didn't take my staff's advice. You know, I'm an 80...
just a bit tired.
I'm a man of over 80 and I can't hack it anymore, but I should be re-elected because I didn't listen to my staff.
But Caleb, on social media, they've fact-checked this claim, right? Because Biden had travelled through 15 time zones and he was so tired. But interestingly, he arrived back in America on June 15. The debate was June 27, so he had 12 days to get over the jet lag.
Not enough.
Hey.
Not enough. You're still asking too much of an old man. And obviously, there is such a clear solution to all this. Take the cognitive test. If everyone is just making it up, or as his press secretary tried to convince us last week, oh, it's just misinformation. All those videos that you're seeing of Biden fumbling around and literally short-circuiting mid-speech, no, those are deep fakes, okay? None of this is actually real. Well, since that disastrous debate, she was asked again in a White House presser about that cognitive test. Here's her reply.
After the debate, did the president get examined by a doctor or did he get a neurological scan?
Guys, I'll see you tomorrow. All right, thanks, everybody.
No answer whatsoever. I mean, it's not like you owe the people who elected you anything, like, I don't know, having a functioning brain if you're going to call yourself their president. Trump did a cognitive test. In fact, I believe he's done several, but because he knows he's got nothing to worry about. If the Biden presidential team isn't worried about this, you would have got this guy to do it years ago when it started being a complication. Let's not forget, this has been a topic of conversation for a very long time. Check out this instance where Biden was asked on air back in 2020. This is 4 years ago. Have you or will you take a cognitive test?
Specifically, have you taken a cognitive test?
No, I haven't taken a test. Why the hell would I take a test? Come on, man. That's like saying you, before you got in this program, you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not. What do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
What do you say to President Trump?
What kind of response is that?
That is so good.
But clearly it was already a sensitive topic.
Yeah.
Hence the question. But that's his response. But instead of just saying, yeah, no, I'm completely
watch
fine.
that
I'll
video.
do as many tests as you
His
like.
biggest problem is not dementia, it's pride.
But you watch that video, right? And watching that particular clip, you might well say he doesn't look like a man who needs a cognitive test. He actually looked quite together
the
there.
signs were already there.
They were, definitely. But compare that in 2020 to what we see now. Like his decline over the last 4 years, let alone what was happening before that, has been immense.
But there's another part to this, because Bernstein also said that the White House have been managing Biden so that all of his engagements are between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. because that's when they get cognizant Joe. Outside of that, you don't know what you're going to get, which effectively means America for the past 4 years has had a part-time president. But speaking of dementia within the Democrats, here's Nancy Pelosi trying to work out what's going on with Biden.
He has a bad night. Now, again, I think it's a legitimate question to say, is this an episode or is this a condition?
Well, I think we all know it was an episode that's part of a long-term condition.
No.
Before we move on, we've got to show, you referred earlier, Caleb, to Biden and his teleprompter. I was amazed at watching this press conference. He's only talking, from what you can gather, to a handful of people, maybe 20 or 30 people. But in this office situation, they set up a podium and the teleprompter because he can't speak off the cuff. And his team have gone to the effort to make sure on the teleprompter he remembers to say again a particularly important phrase. Here's what happens.
More people die from extreme heat than floods, hurricanes, and tornadoes combined. Say that again. Combined, more people die from heat than those three other major issues. And look.
So it's like he realised what he just did. It was like,
He's like, done it again.
Say that bit.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, what a disaster.